Welcome to the Flora podcast, a place where we help you create a life you're excited about. Welcome back to the podcast. Today we are going to continue our holiday decluttering series. If you're new to my channel, I'm Flora Sage. For over 25 years, I've been helping people like you align into a life or a business that you are wildly obsessed with by helping you clear the 9 types of clutter, keeping you from a life that you love. What are those 9 types of clutter? They are mental, spiritual, emotional, digital, financial, daily, body, process, and environmental clutter. And today we are going to talk about decluttering your holiday assumptions. This is a big one. This falls into the category of mental, spiritual, and emotional clutter. Well, even financial clutter, and part of it could also be process. Literally all of these fall into this decluttering of assumptions. So what are holiday assumptions? Well, holiday assumptions are that the holidays have to be expensive, that you have to give a ton of gifts to everybody. Or if you give just a gift card, or if you give just a card or a letter, that's too little. Another holiday assumption is that they're stressful, that it takes so much to put on a fabulous holiday. If you don't do this and this and this, then someone else will be mad or upset or offended or whatever. So each of these assumptions that we're clearing are unique to you and your life. If you want to have a holiday that is stress-free, that isn't full of all of these assumptions that you have that just fill you with anxiety or worry or tension or stress, do yourself a solid. Give yourself permission to just take 20 minutes and just sit down and just ask yourself, what are my assumptions about the holidays? What are my assumptions about the holidays? Some of them could be financial, that you have to spend a certain amount or you have to give a certain amount of gifts to your people. Write that down. What would happen if you didn't? What would happen? And if your assumption is true, then what would happen? If it's not true, what would happen? Sit down and write out your list. And I want you to write down each one of these types of clutter at the top of each page. So 9 pages in your journal: mental, spiritual, emotional, digital, financial, daily, body, process, and environmental clutter. And I want you to go through and ask yourself, what are the assumptions that I have? Often the holidays involve financial stress. Whether you're financially hard-pressed or not, it typically involves some type of extra spending. So let's tackle that one first. What assumptions do you have financially for the holidays? Write those down. The next, I want you to look at, what are the spiritual assumptions I have about the holidays? Many people who practice a specific faith believe their faith is the one and true faith, so all other faiths or all other winter celebrations are wrong. So then what happens is they have all this animosity or anger or ill will or whatever it is towards these other faiths. Other people embrace all religions and they're just yeah, whatever, to each his own. It's all good. As long as you don't hurt anybody and you're not a jerk, you're good. So what are your assumptions spiritually during the holidays? What are your emotional assumptions? Emotional assumptions could be, I have to go to this party and I have to talk to these people and it really drains me and I just don't have the emotional, energy right now to do this. So write all of this stuff down. Then the daily clutter, look at the assumptions that you have. On my chosen winter holiday, I'm going to have to get up and make the breakfast and do this and do that. And it's going to be exhausting. And I just want to relax and not do any of that. And then afterwards, I'm going to have to clean. But I'm going to have to clean beforehand anyway. Again, look at these assumptions. And a lot of assumptions are the things that you would complain about. Now, I know a lot of people in my realm are not complainers. That's just not the type of people that I attract. But if you find yourself complaining more than you normally would, let's look at that. What is causing you to feel a complaint bubble up? Now, once you go through all of the 9 types of clutter, I want you to go back to the beginning, the financial stuff. Okay, I want you to challenge each of these assumptions, and ask yourself, is this assumption true? Is this assumption true? And then if it's true, okay, how can you be sure that it's true? So often people have expectations of the holidays. Like, let's just say that everybody is assuming you will make a giant meal. Well, maybe you don't want to make a meal this year. So that's an assumption that everybody, and it is true. Like everybody, oh, I'm so excited to have your rice pudding. Woo! I'm so excited to taste your turkey. Woo! And you're just like, I am so over it this year. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it this year. So how can you address this assumption? How can you shift your mindset about it? Or how can you shift the reality about this so that you maybe start a new tradition of somebody else cooks, or that you maybe pre-order your holiday meal, whatever that might look like. But get curious. Again, this is what we talked about in our last episode, is getting curious about this clutter, about these assumptions, and ask yourself, 1, are they true? 2, if they are true, how can you shift what's going on? If they're not true, like, yeah, maybe so-and-so likes your apple pie, and so-and-so, maybe say, you know what, this year I'm not cooking. I'll give you the recipe. Why don't you try your hand in it? And if they're like, oh, no, I'm not good, I'm just going to have yours. And you'd be like, sorry, I'm not making it this year. If you want it, here's the recipe. Have at it. And encourage them to try, making whatever. And give yourself permission to say, no, I'm okay. And this is part of daily clutter, where you have, and this is one of the things we talk about in my 365 Days of Decluttering program. If you're not in that program, you need to get in this program, because every single day you get an email that will take you 10 minutes or less to declutter something from your life. And our Facebook group is incredible. People share pictures, they share wins. It's so good. Like I said, if you're not in that, you need to click the link in the show notes, sign up. It's super low cost. You're going to love it. But in any case, so part of daily clutter and process clutter is the things that you do every single day. Part of those days are your winter holidays. So if you want to just spend a day where you're relaxing and not cooking, find alternatives. What can you do? Can you get a caterer for that day? And you just have the food delivered the day before, and then the next day or on your winter holiday, you warm it up and everything's good to go. Perfect. Or again, you outsource the things to your people and say, I'm not cooking this year, but if you would like my yams, here's the recipe. Have at it. And allow yourself to create new traditions. Allow yourself to challenge these assumptions and ask yourself, are these true? Are they not true? And shift the way that you think about them. Again, get curious about each one of these and ask yourself, how can I look at these differently? How can I approach these differently? How can I do these things differently? Or how can I clear this assumption so that it no longer weighs heavy on me, so that's no longer a mental piece of clutter or an emotional piece of clutter for me during this time of year? Again, this is part of doing the work. Sit down, write out these assumptions. You don't have to use 9 separate pieces of paper. If you want to just put them all on one piece of paper, have at it. But really challenge each one. And part of this is mental clutter, where you assume someone is going to get pissed or angry or upset if you don't do something. Is that actually true? And if it is, if you saying I'm not going to cook is going to upset someone, really look at your relationship with that person, and what type, do you have a healthy relationship with that person? Because if you did, they would honor your choice of not cooking, or of changing up how you gift give, or changing if you're going to host or not host. So really allow yourself to give a really hard, honest look at the assumptions that you have and challenge these assumptions. Part of challenging these assumptions might be asking the people that you feel are involved in these assumptions that are causing this to weigh heavy on your heart, and to emerge as clutter for you this holiday season. So I hope that this serves you today. I hope this helps you. Remember, all it takes is a clear vision of where you are and where you want to go. Where you are now is you're like, okay, I'm reviewing my assumptions. Where you want to go is you want to have a really fun, present holiday that feels relaxing, that feels entertaining, that feel whatever it is that you want, that's where you're going. So remember, all you need is that clear vision of where you are, where you want to be, and the willingness to take one action every single day. And that action is the 1 degree shift. That's the willingness to declutter these little things that keep getting in the way of you having what you want and aligning into that life that you absolutely love. I hope this serves you today. I love you, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to today's podcast episode. All links mentioned are in today's show notes.